gene-drive organisms, when you look at them fundamentally, they are genetically engineered organisms, or LMOs as they're called under the Cartagena Protocol. And there are procedures in place for risk assessment, for example. But discussions over the last few years have come to the realization that there is a need to adapt our risk assessment methodologies because gene-drive organisms are, while genetically modified organisms, they pose much greater risk, and they also have conceptually different. Because if, for example, when we look at the purpose of a gene-drive organism, its purpose is to spread in the environment. Its purpose is to actually be in the environment, in the wild, you could say, and to spread its trait to other members of the population. Whereas when we looked at traditional, what I can call traditional GMOs, I don't know, sorry, let me call them a better name, first generation genetically modified organisms. They are released in sort of semi-managed agricultural systems largely, and the whole idea and part of the risk assessment is to mitigate gene flow, is to stop the spread of these LMOs. So we have a very different conceptual framings for these types of organisms. And of course, with gene-drive organisms, you have much more potential for transboundary movement, unintentional transboundary movement particularly, because when you release it in one place, they're not bounded by national borders, but depend on the population of organisms, the targeted organisms, right? So if they occur in different national jurisdictions, there's nothing to stop the gene-drive machinery from spreading within that population. So then that makes the regulation also a bit more difficult because, much of the regulation that we have to deal with biosafety is based very much on national jurisdiction and bilateral arrangements. So here now we need a more multilateral arrangement that is able to, to see how do we do things like seek prior informed consent, for example, which is a key tenet that's operationalized through the Cartagena Protocol on biosafety. So these are just some of the challenges.